to Rochester.
Great. You like it here?
I do. I've been kicking it for the past 2-ish years at more rural locations. And that's got its own charm for sure, but I grew up in the suburbs, right? And so, so I've enjoyed that it's a city, and all that comes with that is actually very, very cool and exciting for me. But I was told, I was excited rather I love snow, right? Grew up in the South, so love the snow. But apparently, so my first winter here was really like warm and not very snowy. And then this last one, I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. People are telling me that was a light winter, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm excited to see where we can go from here.
Yeah, I mean, I think what surprised me when I moved here is how regional the snow is, or localized.
Yeah.
Like it can be a whiteout here. I live in Rochester as well, and then like you sort of hit 490 and there's no snow, or vice versa. It's so specific at times.
Very.
We go, my husband and I do a lot of cross-country skiing, and we go down to Bristol to cross-country ski, and they have great snow. So if you're not getting enough, you can always...
Cool.
Yeah,
I'd
there's
love to.
a really nice loop or two at the top of Bristol Mountain.
Okay.
You should go this other way around.
Yeah.
You can get your fill of snow there.
Okay.
If you need more.
That is good to know. That is good to know. I have a group of friends from college that we stay in touch, and we try to like go on a group get together every once in a while. And the first one was in the mountains of North Carolina, and I was so excited to do some sort of mountainous activity, skiing or ice skating even if you know it's specific to the mountains. And they were steadfastly against it, and I was devastated. I packed my skates and everything. I was like,
ready.
What do you mean we're not gonna take advantage of the mountains? It's so strange. But that's so cool. So Bristol, okay. I'm like aware of like Holiday Valley as like a ski town,
that's
but
like downhill. I saw it downhill, and Bristol has really good downhill skiing too, if that's what you like to do. Sure. But they also, you can snowshoe and like classic cross-country ski, but they also have skate skis.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so you can do that on the groomed part at the top too.
Oh, cool.
So we go up all the time. It's so nice, and they really take care of it, and they'll put man-made snow up there if there's any patches that.
Oh, okay.
That's I love it up there.
Cool. And where are you from originally?
I'm from England originally, and then went to college in Iowa and Minnesota.
Iowa, interesting.
Ended up here, and I moved here in 2001.
Okay, been here for a while then.
Yeah.
Gotcha, that's awesome. How do you like being I've got a hot mic, so maybe you don't want to tell me, but how do you like being a chair? How's that been?
It was not something I was planning on doing, but I liked it.
Never
it's
are,
been
it
good.
feels like.
I think
I've known
most people don't.
Yeah.
But it's been really good, and all of my colleagues are amazing. So
that's awesome.
That
kind of makes it.
Yes. It could be very challenging.
Yeah.
But so it's been, and it's also been nice to learn all these new skills and meet all these different people on campus that I hadn't met before. I didn't need to know them, but now. So.
Now, how is Brockport set up? Are you a part of is this school as a part of a larger college
so
and part of the
state system?
Right.
So that's SUNY,
right.
like University of North Carolina.
Yeah.
So, and we're a small liberal arts school.
Okay.
I think it's 7,000 undergrads.
Wow.
And then
okay, that is pretty small.
Yeah. A couple thousand graduate students, and then we also have a campus downtown Rochester, right around the corner. And then the big programs here would be nursing, physical education, and education.
Yeah.
So those are the really big programs here. But
it's pretty similar to my school.
Yeah. Big. There's art, dance, music, theater, and then all the other liberal arts.
Yeah.
But
totally.
Sports are a big deal.
Okay. Yeah. it seemed like my university's sports were a big deal as well, but the one we put the most money into was not very successful. It was very strange to me.
Which was that?
It was football for us, always is.
Yeah.
But
Which school was that?
East Carolina University.
Mm-hmm.
But like baseball and soccer and volleyball and like swimming, we were really good at. I don't know, but yeah, football team struggled.
Yeah. So I've been watching the Bill Belichick.
Oh my goodness! Don't even get me started on that man.
Right. Emily, do you feel like we have a critical mass, or should we wait a little bit? And you met Emily, yes. Right.
We can maybe wait a minute or two.
Okay, we're talking Bill Belichick.
I have some excused absence.
Okay, all right, we can wait, that's fine. Yeah, I think it's fascinating.
Well, yeah.
Like, what were you thinking? You just can't do NFL system on like 18-year-olds.
Yeah, not only can you not do that, you can't gut a program, date a 16-year-old, and make what? I think it's like 10 million or something. Insane. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of happy he's failing, but I
A little
really
bit.
feel for those kids on
Yes.
the team, because,
Yeah.
well, they're all going to leave,
More than
I
likely.
would think.
More than likely. Yeah. Scholarship will take them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. UNC Chapel Hill's it's a good school, but it's
Yeah.
not the
Right.
end all be all
Yeah.
for sure.
And it didn't seem to be a big football school.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
so weird.
not.
It's
It's a
weird.
basketball school.
Right.
It's weird.
Maybe they were trying to match the hype of the basketball team.
I don't know. It's very, very strange. I don't know. I'll open up that question to anybody. Anybody have opinions on Bill Belichick at UNC Chapel Hill?
That's what we're deep in conversation
Yeah.
about. Any thoughts?
No?
No.
That's fair. That's okay. I'm always curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good. Yeah.
The I don't know. North Carolina is interesting to me. Big like system, right?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
and all these like strange maneuvering almost. Like for example, ECU
Yeah.
like paid a ton of money to be into a different division for their football.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember if it's
Yeah.
ACC or NCAA. And then like the rivalries between the teams have always fascinated me as well, because it's like, I don't know, they're not like back when I played NCAA like football, like the
Yeah.
video game.
Yeah.
I was never playing as those teams. I was
Right.
playing as like, I don't know, like kind of because my brother went there, but like Air Force or
Yeah.
like, I don't know, the Buckeyes,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
these
It
teams that,
wasn't- Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
so strange to care so much about that. Not that you shouldn't, but I also, the student athletes were not treated well at
Yeah.
ECU, and I'm sure, I don't know what it is like here, but
Yeah.
it seems to be a,
Division 3, so it's so different. It's like they're student athletes,
Mhm.
not athletes who are.
yeah. Okay, well that's cool.
Should we start?
I'm happy to.
All right, we're going to begin.
Let's do it.
All right, hi everyone. Good morning. My name's Ruth Childs. I'm the chair of Theatre and Music Studies, and I'm really, really happy to have a special guest today. So most of you have sat through a couple of these talks, but today we have Alex, and I realized I didn't ask you about the correct pronunciation of your last name, Alex.
That's okay.
Should I go for it?
It's always fun to try.
Okay,
You're
I'm
welcome
gonna
to.
guess it's Stoehr.
That is the common one. I pronounce it Steer.
Great.
It's just been Americanized so
Yeah.
much over the years. But yeah, I'm Alex Steer. I'm the Scenic Charge at Geva. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm really excited to be here and chat about myself. It's my favorite topic.
Could you explain what that job title means to our students? Why don't we start with that?
Totally. It's just the fancy title for being the head painter. Essentially, all that means is I take whatever raw materials carpentry assembles and give them their final treatment, whatever the designer is interested in it looking like.
So just over maybe getting ready for the show that's about to open tomorrow? Sancocho.
Yeah.
It's set in an apartment in New York City. Was there any particular painting that you had to do for that set to make it look the way the designer wanted it to look?
Totally. Yes, that set's very interesting to me because we built it very similarly to how you would build and paint a film set, which is very similar, but has some key differences in that it has to be kind of this almost naturalistic or photorealistic version of the thing we are emulating, the New York apartment. I would say the main things that I did to make it look like that were we used a material to add a physical texture to the walls, and then we had to go back in through the whole apartment and make it feel like it was lived in and had like a little bit of dust or a little bit of wear, a little bit of scuffing and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it didn't look brand new.
Yes, even though it was assembled the day before, it can't look like it was assembled the day before.
Yeah, great. Okay, thanks. So is there anything else you do as part of your job at Geva other than painting the sets or treating the sets, putting special finishes on?
Yeah.
What are some of your other tasks?
Unfortunately, many days at Geva, I don't spend painting, as much fun as it is. Being in the leadership role as the charge means that it's meetings and budgeting and emails and all the admin stuff that it takes for a company to run.
Got it. Great. Thank you. Could you talk to us a little bit about what you did before you had this job at Geva and how long you've been at Geva now?
Totally. Specifically with that question, is it like previous theaters or do you want to know about before I got into theater?
Why don't we start with previous theaters and then we could do a longer look
totally.
back. Yeah.
So I've been at Geva about to be 2 years, which is longer than any of my other theaters. Before this, I worked the summer stock at the Rev in Auburn, New York. Before that was, I'm trying to think of the big town nearby, but the college is the biggest part. Near Dartmouth is a regional theater in Vermont. And then before that was Phoenix, Arizona. And then before that was a really small summer stock in New Hampshire, up near the Canadian border.
Great. Thank you. Could you explain what summer stock is in case our students don't know what summer stock means?
Totally fair, yeah. It's a jargon for smaller regional theaters that usually have a whole new production team and acting company that kind of live and work in the area. You kind of live in some sort of housing situation and work at the theater and its shop nearby. And it's a really temporary gig. It's only for usually 3 months, but sometimes shorter, depending on what the theater decides it needs that year.
Great. And those of you who are interested in going into theater, it's a really, really awesome thing to do over there. And people out here, it's a great way to get experience and make connections and work. You get paid to do it in the summers. So everyone who is interested in working in theater should be thinking about that for this upcoming summer. All right.
If I may,
yeah.
I'll add on to it. It has some downsides, I'll be honest, but it is really fun. It is kind of like a a young, like 20s, early late teens kind of sleepaway camp almost that you're paid to be at, and it is a lot of fun usually, but it is a lot of, unfortunately, crunch and a lot of work. But
yeah. And it's only for the summer, so.
yes.
Yeah. But it's a great experience in general. What special training have you done for this job?
That's a tough one. Special training for this job. Well, I kind of jumping around a little bit, but I don't have a theater background. I started in studio art. My concentration at my school was in animation. But in high school, they just needed somebody that knew the right end of a paintbrush. And so they came to this silly little art club that I was a part of. And they're like, please, anybody. And then I showed up and helped out and knew the right end of the paintbrush to use and how much paint, and ended up becoming a charge for a little bit in high school, which was a ton of fun. It's kind of how I met theater people. But then just to know the jargon mostly, that's, I think, the most intimidating part of theater or any industry, is that everybody starts talking and it seems like it's a different language. Yeah. I took a class in college with my theater department and got a good foundational understanding, but largely it was the stuff I was already being trained in, just on a bigger scale. And so after that, it was just on-the-job training. I believe that anybody can be trained to create if you are interested and if you practice. And so I wouldn't say there was really anything special. The hardest thing to learn, I think, is to be open to learning and to take the time to see and to look at things, not necessarily in a sort of like philosophic or meditative way, but just to take a moment to be like, oh, that's the curve of a chair. Oh, that's this way a tree splits.
And it also sounds like you were open to collaborating with people and not knowing things.
Super important to not assume that you're the smartest person in the room, for sure. And collaboration is a necessity in most art fields, unless you're doing commissions. But even then, a lot of artists have a studio supporting them. But theater, specifically, is a team sport, as I always say. It is a very collaborative endeavor. And even if you don't necessarily are friends with all of your coworkers, it's important to be able to be professional and collaborate with them.
I agree. Alex, what do you love about your job and what is hard about your job?
I'll do the thorn first, okay, before the rose. There's so many things that are hard about being a working adult in America, right? But I would say with theater, it is a little bit more emotionally taxing than some of the other gigs that I've worked. Because a lot of times with those other ones, I could just clock in, clock out, and not really think about it. But with theater, you care a little bit. Creative endeavors, you care a little bit more, and you want to put a little bit more of yourself into it, usually. So that's the hard part, I would say, is it can be a little taxing, a little tiring. But the parts that I love is I love the sort of person that theater tends to draw to it. I like hanging out with those people and talking to them and getting to know them. I love traveling, like I just kind of listed off there. One of the reasons I work in theater is because it is kind of like a contract gig, and that has its downsides for sure, but it also has a lot of freedom in being able to travel across the country and maybe one day work abroad. And I also love that it's always going to be something new. A new creative solution is needed for a new problem. I've been working in theater about 6 years, and I can apply similar solutions to the problems that I come across, but it's never a one-to-one. It's always got to be adjusted a little bit, and I think that it's fun. It scratches a certain itch creatively for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, how many of the students here helped paint the set for the previous show? Yeah, so, and now it's gone, right? So that's one of the wonderful things about working in theater, but that can also be hard at times, that this beautiful wood floor that you painted is now gone, and we're going to put something else in here in the spring. So, yeah. So speaking of, moving from place to place or working with a creative team for a very short amount of time,
sure. How
do you create a connection with these people that you're going to collaborate with quickly?
Yeah.
And how does that go for you?
I thought that was a really interesting question. I still do. My approach to communicating with designers and directors, my direct report, I used to be very a little stubborn about, I didn't want to show designers the in-process stuff, because very early on when I was working, I got notes and critique that I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to finish the treatment, like it's in process. But lately, I have been a lot more communicative about what it looks like, what it is going to look like, where we're at in the process, and it has seemed that that has been received very well. So I think it's about sort of a trust and an open communication to create that bond. Sort of a, maybe not funny story. For a Christmas Carol at Geva, last year we just did our redesign. This year is the first year of the remount. But in the redesign, in the creating of this brand new set, part of my job is creating, like, they're referred to as samples, but they're just little snippets of what the larger treatment would be, and they get approved by the designer before we carry them out.
Al, could you describe a little bit more, like, would that be like you're going to paint, I don't know, a Victorian street scene, and you might just do a little bit of one wall, or is that what that means? Or
larger treatments like that are a little tougher, but more or less, yes. It would be, I think what I use samples more for is, actually, yeah, you know what? Yes, let's run with that. Let's run with that example. For last year, there are these large walls that have essentially an etching painted onto them, but it looks like a printed piece of artwork in acid etched print. And the designer wanted a specific style of brushstroke, and he sent me some videos and some other references. And so I was trying to recreate those with my own tools and in my own hand and with my team, in order for him to approve them and to move forward and apply that to it. So yeah, it was small, like 1 foot by like 3 foot little pieces of wood that I would kind of take from the very beginning to a completed step. But being able to do it on a small scale meant that I didn't have to paint large sections of the set before they were approved.
Got it.
Great, thank you.
But to finish kind of that last question, I was still in that mindset, and I hadn't really been communicating with the designer as well as I maybe should have been. And I was doing a fake gold leaf treatment on these stars that covered the walls. His documents that he sent over didn't have a call out for the specific shape or size or look of the stars. So I was guessing off of these really large pictures that he was sending. And I essentially did like a circle with little lines coming out, radiating out of it. And he was very upset with the look of it, assuming that I was cutting corners and not that I wasn't understanding the shape he wanted. And it ended up being a little bit of a fallout, but by maintaining kind of that professionalism and being a little bit more communicative moving forward, we actually have a very good working relationship now.
Great example, thank you. Could you describe a little bit more about how, you talked about high school, is there anything else you would add in your training or steps you took that helped you get to where you are today? Is there anything else you would add to that?
Yeah.
Other than being open and...
I think the two things I would add to that is, one, as maybe not fun as it is, but the basics, the foundations are important, and they're worth practicing. Even if you think you already know them, they're worth doing again. And then the other thing is the advice that was given to me once upon a time, and I'll give out again. For whatever creative endeavor you're doing, whatever arts or practice you are performing, to just experience things, just new things, different things. It is very easy for us to get set in our ways and think that that is the only way to do things. But Trevor Noah has a great quote about how travel is the antidote to ignorance. And I think that can be applied to art and a lot of things, obviously, but.
Love Trevor Noah. So I have a random question. This wasn't on the list, but I'm curious, and maybe some of the students are interested. How do you get your next job? Do you have an agent?
Yeah, really.
Or is there like a secret underground network of artists? And, so I'm just curious, like, how do you get that next gig? I hope you're not looking for a new one, but.
That is a great question. And if any of you are trying to do this, I was very confused and scared and intimidated because I would go to a theater's website and 9 times out of 10, at least a couple of years ago, they would actually not have how to contact them about job opportunities or anything like that on their websites or anything. And I was like, do I have to go real old school and like knock on a door and hope that they're open, not knowing even back then that theaters are usually dark on Monday? Turns out a buddy of mine who has been in the industry much longer than me goes, oh, well, if you're not going to go to conferences, which is a great way to find gigs like USITT and other stuff like that. I have never been to one, but it seems like they're pretty fun to go with a group of homies and explore and see what's going on. Is to use a website called Offstage Jobs for specifically production, and then
Hot tip. There you
yeah,
go.
I think it has. I would recommend Googling it because the old link or like offstagejobs.com doesn't work. It has to be like listings dot offstagejobs. Just, but if you Google it, it works. And then the other one is Playbill. It's a little bit less specific to production, but if you're interested in more like stage management and a couple of other things, it's a great one.
Yeah. Great, thank you. So do you have a typical day at Geva? And if so, could you talk us through it?
Yeah. I personally believe that if I am asked to work 40 hours a week, that my day starts at, let's say 9 and ends at 5, including the breaks that I take during the day. So 9 o'clock, show up. I don't believe that being punctual is necessarily like the highest of values. So there's a 15-minute window before I'll ask my crew if they're okay and make sure that they like aren't feeling well or whatever and what's going on. But there's a 15-minute window where I stretch or I read or I watch something and just kind of get ready to get into the space. Then it starts with conversations with the person I collaborate most directly as Scenic Charge is the position referred to as technical director. They're essentially the person that takes what a designer makes and gives it out to carpenters in a way that can be built in real life and safely. But I talk to them, make sure we're on the same page, talk about whatever project we are working on, and then I go and have a little meeting. I almost used very old slang. A meeting with my crew, make sure that we're on the same page, give them the goals for the day.
Who is your crew?
Most of the time, it is one other painter.
Okay.
Sometimes we can get into the nitty-gritty of what overhire means if you'd like, but sometimes I have some like random crew that come and help me out and are paid.
And you guys can do that too. You can be on the random crew.
Yes. Make sure that is usually a team. I personally don't like being a Scenic Charge that is a team of one, just me, because being a Scenic Charge, like I mentioned before, it is important to be able to leave painting and go take care of administrative stuff. Find it very hard to be one person doing both of those things. But then hopefully the rest of the day, including some breaks at 2:15s and an hour-long lunch, is just painting. It is just setting up tools and equipment, setting up the element that we are going to be painting, and then taking that step until it dries, switching to a different step on a different element until that dries, and kind of bouncing back and forth until we get to a good stopping point at the end of the day, and then clean up, make sure the tools are usable for the next day and the next week and the next month, and then get on out of there. Unfortunately for me, it usually means that somewhere either in the morning or the afternoon, I have to run across town to where the rest of the theater is and attend a meeting, which is unique to Geva. Sometimes shops are closer, sometimes they're further away.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you have any advice for students interested in working in the arts?
I feel like we've touched on it a few times. Sorry to jump around like that.
No, it's fine.
I think the one thing that I haven't said, and we kind of hinted at it, is a little bit of distance from your work is healthy. To put so much of your own identity into your work and your practice, whatever it may be, is painful for not a lot of gain, in the form of, even if it wasn't art, like even if you're more interested in being a business major, your presentation that you're very excited about and you put a lot of yourself into isn't received well by whoever you give it to. It is hard to separate that critique on the work as not a critique on yourself. And so I would say that's the biggest thing, is remember that is that it is good and fun to create for yourself, and I encourage it, but if you're doing it for a job, it is a job, and it's okay to treat it like that sometimes.
Is there anything you found particularly helpful when you're not at work as a way to try to alleviate some of that or stay healthy? There's been a lot of conversation in the arts since COVID about trying to make it a more friendly, healthy place to be as an employee. Is there anything that you do for yourself that helps you? I think work-life balance is not, like, it's a very overused phrase, but that can feed you as a person or to help you counterbalance some of that work stuff.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard being in America where it feels like we're living to work a lot instead of the other way around. One of the saddest things, I think, is that because I oftentimes am painting every day, it's really hard for me to come home and do something that is in that same vein, like draw or digitally paint or anything really. The things that I try to do to recharge are sometimes physical, in the form of, like, I love ice skating. I used to play hockey a lot, and so I still love ice skating, and that is a great way for me to just kind of clear my head and get some time alone. But time alone is also useful, even away from even away from my partner sometimes. And then the other thing I do a lot is I find, I think it's the same itch that art solves for me, but I find games fascinating, and I love them in any variety, whether it's video games or board games, card games, anything. If you give me an objective and constraints, I'm all about it. So those are the things.
What's your favorite video game right now?
I'm really excited to get into Hades 2. I have not yet, but I am just finishing up my time with No Man's Sky, because they dropped a really cool update where you could create these massive spaceships.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I made a sick Star Wars ship.
Great. I'll ask one last question, then I'll open it up to our students here. Is there a favorite show that you worked on in the recent past?
Favorite show I worked on recent past? We've done some cool ones. I really liked our set for Little Women. It was the third time I've done trees, which is a common challenge for theaters, because they are very difficult and very expensive to make, because otherwise you end up kind of with, like, columns that are painted to look like trees. But the carpenters did a pretty good job with the welding and the sonotube funness. Sonotubes are just like stiff cardboard, big paper towel rolls. And then myself and my team, I think, did a really nice job of exaggerated paper mache is the best way I could describe the process without getting into the nitty-gritty, and creating 3 different types of trees. One oak using spray foam, insulation foam, and then the other 2 using either just the cloth that we wrapped them in and glued them with, and cloth plus paper that we glued on and colored to make some birch.
Yeah, that was a beautiful set. Yeah.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you. All right. So now we can take some questions from students. So please feel free to ask Alex anything.
Anything is fair game.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Or we'll just sit and look at you awkwardly. So,
I think
any
I'll-
questions?
What's your least favorite part about working
Yeah.
I'll repeat that. So, what's your least favorite thing about working in theater?
Oof. I think my least favorite thing about working in theater right now is it feels very constrained by what came before. And there's a lot of homogeny in not just the type of people that are working in theater and their backgrounds, but also I've brought to realization several sets that are, and nothing wrong with stealing in the arts, by the way, but several sets that are pretty similar to something that was on like Broadway, for example. And it wasn't like I don't know, it is a frustration of mine to be a copyist.
Great answer. Any other questions that you might have for Alex?
Lindsay, yeah?
Do you have like a favorite painting technique or like an illusion that kind of like blew your mind the first time you saw it or saw it on stage?
I'll repeat that question. Do you have a favorite painting technique or illusion that you've seen on stage or brought to life yourself? Okay.
Well, there is that specific type of wood grain that I demonstrated yesterday. The long and short of it is you apply essentially an even coat of a layer of paint, and then you drag this other specialized tool through it, and it is very almost magical how it creates a wood grain in that moment. So that's definitely up there for me. But I would say the other one, I think trompe-l'oeil, which is where you use highlights and shadows to take a 2D surface and make it feel like it's 3D, or visually register as 3D. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a little cheesy, but it's a lot of fun. It's very theatrical, and it's very silly to especially when you've done it, to like look at something from a distance and go, oh wow, it does look like there's some depth there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Sam, and then I saw
Oh, great.
Is there any show you've been dying to work on, like, as a whole?
Great question, Sam.
Yes, yeah. Do you want to repeat
I'll
it?
repeat it for our streaming people. Is there a show you're dying to work on?
I had a different thought earlier today, and then last night or this morning, my friend sent me a meme about Phantom of the Opera, and I remembered that I absolutely love Phantom of the Opera, and it's such a big musical that nobody will do it at a regional level. So yeah, Phantom for sure. I would love to do the.
What was the other
gondola.
one?
I wanted to redo Little Shop of Horrors, because the first time I did it, it was made out of cardboard, and it was really cool and stylized, but I would love to do it with a real budget.
Okay. Great. Let us know.
Yeah.
Tristan?
Is there a specific type / genre of show that you like painting / working on more than others?
All right. I'll repeat Tristan's question. Is there a specific genre of show that you prefer working on over others?
I hope I'm not getting this wrong, because I don't really know theater, actually, like genre and history that well. But I find that musicals, specifically more fantastical musicals, allow for more extravagant or interesting painterly techniques. The designers and directors are a little bit less interested in realism. I did Into the Woods finally, after chasing it for several years, at the Rev. Big, burly show, but that was the second time I got to do trees. I got to do these very strange staining techniques to create some like fake broken frames. The floor wasn't just realistic wood grain, you know, stuff like that. And same, one of the reasons I'm excited a little bit, maybe apprehensive about Anastasia later this year, is that it is big and it is a little bit unreal, a little bit fantastical and a little bit gaudy even, maybe.
Yeah. Great.
Any other questions? Oh, Emily's got a question. Great.
Can you talk to us a little bit about at the Geva how much time you have to work on a show from the time like you start conversations to getting the paint elevations and then on there?
Great.
Sure.
I'll just repeat that. So Emily's question was, what's a standard timeline when you work in professional theater from the very start of the process through to opening night?
It's a bit of a toughie because it is so different at each theater. For Geva, they're really trying to build what is referred to at Geva as like the runway. I've heard it referred to as like a pipeline or other things before, but the beginning to the end, right, product. They're really trying to build a very feasible runway. So conversations that I'm brought into start probably 3 months out usually from, maybe longer, maybe 4 months from opening because of all rehearsals and load in and stuff. Probably 4 months out from opening. And that's truly the meetings I'm going to, right? It's giving feedback, it's saying what is viable, what isn't viable for our shop to achieve. In what is usually, when we start a build, I have, if I'm lucky, I have about 4 weeks to take one of our larger shows to completion before it is loaded in to the stage, and then it is given over for tech rehearsals and like focus and stuff like that. To your point, just to call it out, there is that very fun step at the beginning of my build process, which is getting paint elevations, which are the documents that the designer sends to me, hopefully, that tells me what they are hoping, what their idea is, what they would like it to look like. And then it's my responsibility to create those samples we talked about a little bit, send those back to them, get them all approved for the various parts of the set.
Great, thanks. We have time for one more question. So, Jill, do you have a question? No, okay. Yeah, one last question for Alex? Oh yeah, okay, go ahead, Zach.
You mentioned a little bit of the administrative side of your job.
Yeah.
Do you work at all with like publicity or hand them ideas, or is that more the designer to get things out there to the people, to the public?
Totally, that's a great question.
I'm going to repeat it. So Zach asked if Alex at all works with the publicity or marketing departments about sharing information, sharing designs, sharing art with the audience at large. Yeah. Okay.
It is a little silly almost that the designer and myself have very little to do with the marketing material. It is a different department, as Ruth mentioned, that has we have a full-time graphic designer, and we have like a part-time like videographer, photographer, and some other stuff, some other positions. And they are the one that is responsible for most of the material that goes out. But I do try to be open, and I communicate with them either through pictures and email or other stuff about what I'm working on and when I'm working on it, if they want to come and take footage or otherwise get pictures and stuff like that.
Great question. All right, well, I think we're pretty close to being out of time, so thank you so much, Alex. This was great. And let's give Alex a round of applause. Say thank you.
Would it be all right to plug something at
Oh,
Geva
yes, I
a
would
little bit?
love, yeah, go ahead.
So this weekend, may not happen for a while, but this weekend is the costume sale at Geva, where we are offloading a lot of our stock, is what is referred to, options when it comes to clothing for very reasonable prices. But if you need a new suit, if you need something for Halloween, if you just want to go look through some probably retro or vintage clothing, it'll be there. And it's just inside of Geva, so you also get a little tour of Geva.
Great. And then I'll also do a plug for Sancocho, which is opening tomorrow night. And I think there are still some seats available. We have a group going on Sunday night at 7 p.m. There's a bus. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up through My Brockport and get transportation, free tickets for students. And then we're also taking a group on Wednesday night, and I think we're pretty much close to sold out for that. But if you really want to go Wednesday, let me know. And that one, we do not have transportation provided. So if you want to go and take your roommate and you don't have a way to get there, you can go Sunday night for free. And you can see Alex's work. You can check out the
Cool.
apartment and how scuffed up it got.
Props did a great job.
yeah,
We worked with
it looks
a
great.
culinary consultant as well, so it's got all the smell and the chopping of a real kitchen.
So, great play. Okay, so thank you, Alex. That was great.
Thank you all. I appreciate you coming and listening. And thanks for having me, Ruth.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'm gonna give this guy a fellas here.
If you haven't signed in, come sign in before you leave.
Thank you. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you.